You clicked on this video because you want to know about some of the best games that are releasing in the year 2024. So let's not waste any time as I tell you about some of the best games coming out this year. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. The Prince of Persia series finally returns after nearly 15 years on January 18th. The series is returning to its 2D action platforming roots, and some Metroidvania elements have been added to modernise the gameplay. This game is a big deal, and it's one of the more interesting and creative games Ubisoft have made in recent memory. I have never played a Prince of Persia game myself, so maybe I'll be diving into the series for the first time with this game. Turnip Boy robs a bank. After committing plenty of tax evasion in the first Turnip Boy game, Turnip Boy has now moved on to robbing banks. This new Turnip Boy game, which is also releasing on January 18th, will have you looting and shooting your way through a bank as you go on an epic heist to make a lot of money. There seems to be a lot of gameplay elements here from Enter the Gungeon, and if this sequel is anything like the original Turnip Boy game, then I'm sure Turnip Boy Robs a Bank will be a hilarious game to play through. Another Code Recollection. Coming out on the 19th of January are two remakes of classic Nintendo games, Another Code on DS and Another Code R for the Wii. What's very interesting is that Another Code R was never released in North America, so this will probably be the first time many people get to experience that game. The remakes look like they have been done to a really high standard, and I'm very excited to experience both of these visual novel style adventure games for the first time on the Switch. Yakuza Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. The next entry in the Yakuza Like a Dragon series releases on January 26th. This game will have you exploring Hawaii, fighting in lots of action RPG based battles, and playing a lot of different mini-games. This game even has a massive Dondigo Island side mode, which is basically this game's Animal Crossing mode, and it looks rad as flip. Now, to be honest, I don't know that much about the Yakuza series, but it's a series I really want to get into, as I know some wild batshit stuff happens within these games. I don't know if I'll make Infinite Wealth my first Yakuza game, but I'm sure I'll get round to playing this game eventually. Persona 3 Reload. A remake of Persona 3 is one of the games I'm most excited about this year, and it's launching on the 2nd of February. This remake will unfortunately not include content from Persona 3 Fez or Persona 3 Portable, but there will still be lots of new things to enjoy in this game, such as stylish new art and UI, a new English voiceover cast, and some new music tracks too. This is one of the most well-beloved JRPGs of all time, and it's definitely a game you're going to want to check out, especially if you haven't played any of the previous Persona 3 games. Mario vs Donkey Kong. It's been nearly 10 years since the last Mario vs Donkey Kong game, but finally, the series returns on February 16th with a remake of the original game. This remake features updated graphics, and Pauline has been brought back, which is very cool as she was never in the original game. I used to love these puzzle games as a kid back on the DS, so I'm glad we are seeing this series return again, as these games are really fun to play. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is the second part of the new Final Fantasy VII trilogy, and oh boy, I'm looking forward to this game so much. I loved FF7 Remake when it came out in 2020, and I've been waiting for the next installment to come out ever since I beat that game, and it's nearly finally here. From what we have seen from the trailers, this game looks fantastic, and I can't wait to see how the original Final Fantasy VII story will be retold in this new game. This is my most anticipated game of 2024, and I will be picking up this game day one when it releases on the 29th of February. Unicorn Overlord. Releasing on March 8th, Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG developed by Vanillaware. Vanillaware is a Japanese studio that has made games such as 13 Sentinels, Dragon's Crown, and Odin Sphere. If you have played any of these games before, then you know that Vanillaware doesn't miss when it comes to their games, so I'm confident that Unicorn Overload is going to be a banger of a game. Princess Peach Showtime. The first game to star Princess Peach as the main playable character since Super Princess Peach back on the DS, which was released 18 years ago, and it's a game I still need to play. Princess Peach Showtime looks like it's shaping up to be one of the most creative games Nintendo has put out for a while. I love how much of a personality Peach is being given, and the costume changing mechanic looks really cool in this game. I'm definitely looking forward to this game, and I can't wait to play it on the 22nd of March. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. This is a brand new JRPG that is aiming to be a spiritual successor to Suikoden. For those of you that don't know about Suikoden, these games were turn-based JRPGs where you could recruit a ridiculous amount of characters to your party. The combat system was pretty unique compared to other JRPGs, and the story told in these games were really interesting too. Eiyuden Chronicles is taking lots of gameplay elements from Suikoden, and the game looks to be shaping up to be fantastic, with stunning 2D sprites across 3D backgrounds and a brilliant soundtrack. This is definitely a game you're going to want to check back out on April 23rd if you are a big JRPG fan. Penny's Big Breakaway. This is coming to us from the team that developed Sonic Mania, and this just looks like a really fun game to play. The movement looks slick, the animations are polished, the platforming looks fun, the music sounds great, and overall, it's looking like the old Sonic Mania team has made another banger. Penny's Big Breakaway is expected to be released in early 2024, so hopefully we shouldn't have to wait too long for this game. Loco Motive. Set to be released in Q1 of 2024, Loco Motive is a gorgeous pixel art point-and-click adventure game where you'll be navigating around a train as one of 3 characters to try and prove your innocence while also uncovering the real murderer. With the game also featuring stunning pixel art animations, many fun puzzles for you to solve, and voice acting, what more could you want? Animal Well, another indie game on this list, and this one is a Metroidvania where you get to explore a beautiful but haunting pixelated world. You will encounter many lively creatures in this world, with some being friendly and helpful, while others are more dangerous and a threat to your tiny blob character. Animal Well revolves around exploration and puzzle solving, and we won't have to wait too long for this game to be released, as it's set to be launched in early 2024. Hades 2. The sequel to Hades is expected to come into early access in Q2 of 2024, and I cannot wait for this game. I think I must have sunk around 200 hours into the original Hades across both my Steam and Switch. It is too good of a game, and I'm really excited for what the sequel is going to bring to the table. Also, the original Hades could be turned into a very good drinking game, so I hope Hades 2 has the potential to also become a good drinking game. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. This is a game I unfortunately didn't get a chance to check out when it first released on 3DS, so I'm glad a HD port is coming to the Switch sometime in the summer. This game does look a little rough in the footage we have seen so far, but this seems to be very early footage, so hopefully the game gets polished up a lot more before release. Decapolice. Level 5 are making a big comeback in 2024 with plenty of different games, and one of those games is Decapolice. This is a brand new IP, which is an open world turn-based RPG. We don't know a lot else about this game so far, but from what we have seen, this looks like some exciting stuff, and we should find out a lot more information about this game within the coming year. Fantasy Life I. Another level 5 game coming in 2024, which is a new entry in the Fantasy Life series. This is a life simulation RPG game where you'll be exploring an island, building up your own city, and you'll get to travel through time to uncover the mysteries of the island. The original Fantasy Life was a really cool hidden gem back on the 3DS, so it is really cool that a new entry in the series is being brought onto the Switch. Rift of the NecroDancer. From the creators of Crypt of the NecroDancer and Cadence of Hyrule, Rift of the NecroDancer is a brand new rhythm game that seems to be taking a lot of inspiration from the Rhythm Heaven series. There also seems to be elements of Guitar Hero and Punch-Out in here too, and if this game is anything like the studio's previous 2 games, then I'm sure Rift of the NecroDancer is going to be a very fun game to play. Mina the Hollower. From the creators of Shovel Knight comes a brand new Game Boy Color style game called Mina the Hollower. This is a game that is clearly going for that old school Link's Awakening type of vibe, with some gothic horror elements infused into the game. We were expecting Mina the Hollower to be released in 2023, but this game needed a little bit more time in the oven, and hopefully we will see it released sometime this year. The Plucky Squire. This is a really cool looking indie game that is being co-developed by James Turnip, who has previously worked on Pokemon and done quite a lot of the Gen 8 Pokemon designs. James Turnip is now making his own indie game, and it looks fantastic. The Plucky Squire has you traversing across these 2D environments in a storybook setting, but then later on in the game you can jump out of the book and enter a whole 3D environment which you could explore. From the trailers that have come out, this just looks like a brilliant game to play, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Visions of Mana. The first mainline title in the Mana series in over 15 years is finally dropping sometime in 2024. The only information we have about this game so far is a short announcement trailer, but the world you'll be exploring in this game looks beautiful. This is another series that I want to get into but haven't had the chance to yet, but Visions of Mana could potentially be my first introduction into the Mana series. Shantae Advance Risky Revelation. This is an interesting one, as Shantae Advance was originally a cancelled GBA game. However, 2 decades later, WayForward announced they would be resuming development for the game and releasing it for all modern platforms in 2024, and that Limited Run Games would be physically publishing the game for the GBA as well. I mean, that is mad that we are getting a new GBA game in the year 2024, and the fact that we are getting a piece of missing Game Boy Advance history is really cool. World of Goo 2. Yes, in the year 2024, we are getting a sequel to the cult classic World of Goo. I still can't quite believe we are getting a sequel to the this game, but you better know that I will definitely be picking up this game day one when it launches sometime in 2024, and you should be too. Little Nightmares 3, the third game in the Little Nightmares series, which are horror puzzle platforming adventure games where you'll traverse through a 2.5D world trying to escape from a looming threat. These are another series of games I haven't got into myself yet, and I didn't quite expect to see a third entry within this series, but I'm very excited to check this game out later this year, along with hopefully the previous two games as well. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Along with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, this is another one of my most anticipated remakes of the year. This game is regarded as the best Paper Mario game in the series, so I'm really glad that we are getting a remake that will be easily accessible for everyone to play, and people can stop paying hundreds of dollars for the GameCube version of this game. This will be my first time experiencing Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, and the only thing I know about this game is that there is a noose in the starting town, and that's about it. Hopefully this game lives up to the hype. Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade is a brand new PlayStation 5 exclusive game that is being developed by a new Korean-based studio known as Shift Up. This futuristic hack and slash action adventure game looks to be a very ambitious first game for this studio, and lots of combat and the overall vibe of the game reminds me a lot of Bayonetta and Nier Automata, which is a very good thing. Graphically, this game looks incredible, and the parts of the soundtrack we have heard in the trailers slap. This game was expected to come out in 2023, and we don't have a concrete 2024 release date, but I'm sure it will come out this year, and it will hopefully be worth the wait. Metaphor Refantazio, the final game on this list, and I think maybe like the 6th or 7th JRPG game I'm talking about in this video. Yes, I like my JRPGs, leave me alone. Metaphor is going to be a banger of a JRPG though, as this game is being developed by the same people who made Persona 3, 4 and 5. So you just know that this is going to turn out to be a brilliant game. The game has that flashy look similar to the modern Persona games, with the animations, combat and menu UI all looking slick. It also seems like you'll be able to bond with characters and improve your relationships, similar once again to Persona. And speaking of those characters, the game features a British voice acting cast, which is very sexy. I can't wait to find out what story this game has to tell when it releases sometime in the fall of 2024. So there you go, that was I think 27 games I've talked about in this video that are releasing in the year 2024 that I think you should be keeping your eye on. Now I've only stuck to talking about games that have a solid 2024 release date, so unfortunately I haven't been able to talk about games like Hollow Knight SilkSong, the Dragon Quest III remake, or Metroid Prime 4. Hopefully though, some of those games will come out in 2024, or at the very least we get some news and updates about each of those games. There are also going to be a lot of games coming out this year we don't know about yet, so I'm sure that 2024 is going to be a very exciting year for video games. And if you want to know about some of the best indie games that came out last year you might have missed, then luckily for you, I made a video about that, and it's on the screen right now.